Another thing you've probably heard a lot about being in Jefferson County is this issue that keeps rearing its head in the legislature, but nothing ever gets done, of payday loans. And it's something that you look at the numbers, and it's kind of what the lottery is. It's going after lower class people like this. As governor, would it be one of your priorities to try and finally get a reform bill passed in the state legislature?
Well, I think, that's a difficult one because there's arguments that if you do this, it's going to be worse. Okay. I truly believe in this whole consensus concept. I worked for a mayor, or my mayor at Vestavia when I was president of the city council, was a 74-year-old retired president of UAB and an oral surgeon. And many times, Jeff, we were sitting in a room or a situation just like that, and Scotty would say, David, I don't know the solution to this problem, but someone in Vestavia Hills does, and it's up to you and me to find those people and get them engaged. I just want to sit down and see where the consensus was and see what the true areas and not try to bait one side against the other. But there's got to be some solution other than, totally throwing out people that are willing to do short-term loans and totally being enamored with them.
And another hot topic over the past couple of years, prisons.
Prisons.
There was the super prison proposal from Governor Bentley that never really went anywhere. But the bond issue, where did you stand on that?
Part of the problem, I took a little bit of heat for this. We say these prisons that we built the model was wrong, and now we're going to do all these prisons at once. What happens if the model on that one's wrong? I mean, I'm a much more iterative kind of person. Mm-hmm. I'm also concerned about the counties that depend on those prisons for jobs, and you remember the cat and mouse. Well, which ones are you going to keep open? Which ones are you going? Well, I'm not going to tell you because if I tell you, I'll lose the votes. I really didn't like that. The solution to the prison problem is actually education and jobs. I mean, we have a problem, structural problem in this state. 500,000 working adults don't have a high school degree. Yet when I talk to some of these businesses and say, what are you looking for? Their number one criteria that they say, in most of them, is we got to have a high school degree. So we have 500,000 people that don't qualify for jobs that are available. But with that said, when I have a working adult in a minimum wage job, I'm cheating a young person, high school student or college student, from having a job. And so it's compounded. Well, if you have high school students that can't get a job, they're left up to mischief. And that's how we get prisons full. And so we've got to change this whole structure of how things are done. One of the things in Jefferson County, I want to go back. I don't know if you're editing this or it needs to be raw. We have 1,600 IT jobs open right now. Mm-hmm. And so the challenge in Alabama, Huntsville, Mobile, Birmingham, is not going to be economic development. We've proven we can go recruit jobs. It's going to be sure that we have a workforce in order to fill those jobs.
And so that kind of goes back into education. I mean, I've traveled with Governor Bentley to some technical schools and everything like that. It comes to not necessarily teaching everyone the liberal arts education, but the computer science, the engineering, and everything like that.
And the bricklaying, and the welding,
exactly.
And the carpentry.
The vocational jobs that have somewhat been neglected because everyone is told you need to achieve. Is that going to be a priority for you?
It really is, and I talk about that in some of my materials, and I know we don't have enough time, but 32% of the jobs require a college degree. That doesn't mean that you can't have a great life without a college degree. One of the things that we're doing in Birmingham, and I'm sure it's in other areas of the state, is we partnered with the builders and the state with AIDT to open a VOTEC center. High school students can come half a day, and they can learn one of these skills, electrical, welding, brick masonry, carpentry, and then they go back to school for the second half of the day. That program's been so successful, and these young students, instead of going for a minimum wage job where they won't be able to get one, they'll actually go in to an assistant or apprentice in carpentry, let's say, and they'll be making $12 to $15 an hour from the start. And so, no, I believe in VOTEC. To the converse, or in addition, I believe in dual enrollment. What a great program where a high school student that wants to go to college can go to a two-year college, get credit for a course as well as get high school credit. So we've got to start looking at things because we can't keep adding money on money on money and money. How do we use the current pot more effectively?
You've got two more issues we'll hit on. The first is one thing that we've been focusing on a little bit here with some of our investigative reporting, and it's open records in the state. Mm-hmm. And I'm a journalist, and as a journalist who's tried to request things, it's often very difficult because of different privileges or things like that. Would you be interested in making those laws more clear? Because there's a very basic part of the law which says if it's a document of the state, it can be seen, but then there's laundry lists of exceptions. Would you be open to making it so that the people of Alabama are able to see how their government is done?
I think I'll go on record as saying during bankruptcy, which is probably the most difficult thing because of legal issues, we were pretty transparent on what we can release. The journalists have always called me to release, and we'll release wherever possible. So I'm not aware of the hurdles you face. I would have to really understand that. But am I supportive of transparent and open government? Absolutely. I mean, it is the people's money. With that said, I'm sure every journalist would like to know, we've recruited a company, 748 jobs in a niche market. They're going to have like 22 suppliers. Well, the journalists would love to know who it is, but the company's located in another state, and they're not ready to announce because they've got employees in that state. And so, while from a transparency and open government, it would hurt us and probably hurt the project if we did that and hurt the company. And so there needs to be some tight, I said tight, exceptions to this. Economic development has to still say tight. Legal matters, obviously. At Vestavia, we offered to buy a piece of property. It was in a public meeting because that hadn't been modified. The person that was bidding against us knew our bid, went out, raised his bid $1,000, and he won the project. The public's doesn't benefit from that because that was a piece of property we could use for economic development. But other than real tight exceptions, litigation, economic development, asset acquisition.
So you're okay with, for example, when it comes to a school board and being able to see the minutes of a school board.
Oh, gosh.
And the minutes of a school board, how a school board spends its money, things like that.
I'm shocked y'all can't do that.
It's its own.
People listening to me, you should have seen the face of Jeff's face when he looked at me then.
And finally, sir, the other big issue we'll hit is infrastructure.
Yes.
I drive through the state a lot,
yes,
going to different things, and the bridges, while they look great, aren't exactly in the best condition.
Right.
Roads aren't in the best condition. There's been lots of debate about gas tax. First, where did you stand on gas tax, and what do you think we can do to repair that infrastructure?
Well, the County Commission Association has supported it. I think 47 counties have passed resolutions. Jefferson County and Madison Limestone are in interesting situations, as well as Mobile Baldwin, in that we become donor counties. And so a lot of our money doesn't stay here. So, would I like Jefferson to keep all the gas money that goes through Jefferson? Because we've got thousands of miles of roads like you do too. Yes. But the solution that's proposed before the legislature moves the ball forward. If you're going to have a tax in this regard, I really don't see the gas tax as a tax as much as a fee for use. And we're going to eventually find some way to do that. And so whether it's a gas tax as currently proposed, I hear there's a new one coming up this week. I haven't been able to read the bill. The bill. I said bell, the bill, and I'd have to read it before I could decide.
A year ago, to be honest with you, just over a year ago, I was in the studio and we were covering a story about a gas tax bill that died. So it's not something that's new and it just continually faces problems.
Would Limestone County, let's say Limestone County wanted to improve their roads, wouldn't it be a little bit better to let Limestone County citizens decide if they wanted to raise their gas tax to improve the roads? Yeah. And so I'm a big believer, by the way, in local government, pushing down decisions to the lowest level, because it's hard. Montgomery works on compromise, not consensus, or it doesn't work at all. I'd really rather them say, deal with the issue, county government.
Sir, that's all.